Hey, this is Simeon from PraiseTracks.com, and it looks like that on our journey towards Neptune and Orion, we were caught in some sort of wild time wormhole or went through another dimension, because when I first heard that Neptune and Orion were woodwinds, it instantly brought back images of my first encounter with orchestral instruments and that type of thing when I was in elementary school music. But before we get into that story, let's just kind of go over what Neptune and Orion are. They are the latest additions to the Big Bang Orchestra series from Vienna Symphonic Library. And this series has absolutely become just a tremendous collection. Every new installment just continues to amaze and surprise me with how beautifully recorded these instruments are, and just the consistency where you can take each element and add them together and they just connect, because everything was recorded in the SYNCHRON stage in their positions. And so when you add different additions like Andromeda and Fornax and Jupiter, Hercules, all of those, they will all just blend together so beautifully. So Neptune, I've got Neptune pulled up here, and Neptune is the woodwind section as a whole. They are playing all together. There's only just one patch in Neptune. So I'm just going to kind of play a little bit with the woodwinds, just the patch, and you can kind of get an idea of what Neptune sounds like. So here we go. And what they do a lot of times, they'll give you Senza piccolo and con piccolo. So it's on Senza piccolo right now. Now let's choose the con piccolo. So with piccolo, and you notice when you play, it's in the range of the instrument. And as you get down here, you hear oboes and bassoons. I mean, you hear the richness. And then the SYNCHRON stage comes in. Listen to the room. It's just really beautiful. So you have these beautiful performances. So let's take a little closer look. So even though they were recorded together, the SYNCHRON player in the mix section allows you to adjust the different sections, the different mic positions. So if you look through the mix channels here, you have your room mix, but then you have a mid mic, a flutes close, an oboe close, clarinet close, and then the bassoons close. So what we'll do, I'm going to just solo the flutes, for instance, and let's just kind of take a listen. I'm going to pull the volume up a little bit, and you can see where they have these kind of panned a little bit. So this is the flutes close. So when you have the room mix and you want to accentuate or bring out a certain section, having those individual section mics really help you to do that. And one of the other things you'll notice when you're playing these individual mics, so let's just play the flute mic just one more time. you hear a little of the mic bleed from the other sections. So it's kind of like the other sections are spilling over into the flute mic. But that just allows you to bring up the individual sections. So the oboe close. And then the clarinet close. Okay, here we go. It's the clarinet. So it just kind of helps pull you closer into these different sections. The bassoon close. That's just really cool, really nice and rich and deep. Okay, now let's just listen to the sections together. And I'm just going to solo the, well, okay, let's just load the preset. That way we'll get the initial mix and settings. So you've got the room mix, so let's just listen to that by itself. Now bring in the other mics. One thing I like to say is that working with this, when you hear how beautiful the woodwind sections are, they almost seem like the unsung backbone of the orchestra because you hear them doing so many things in a piece, but you don't necessarily understand all the things that they're doing. So the strings are so prominent, the brass is prominent, and the woodwinds are underneath, just doing all kinds of beautiful things, just to kind of help to tie things together. And what Neptune does, having everything played at one time, it allows you to quickly come up with interesting woodwind parts with everything together because it's so beautiful. So things are just kind of fluid when you're just kind of playing along. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Okay, so now let's get into the next dimension or planet or constellation, the next galaxy, and that is going to be Orion. So Orion takes the concept of woodwinds one step further, and that is by offering individual sections. So they're not playing at the same time, they're playing individually. So I love to see that Big Bang galaxy continue to fill up. When I first pulled up Orion and Neptune, it was like I was transported back into my elementary school music class. And it is one of the first vivid memories that I recall of experiencing something that really shaped the way that I would approach music in the future. So they showed the film, the Disney film, Peter and the Wolf. Just to set the mood, I'm going to pull up Lyra here. Yeah, so that's where it took me. When I first saw this on the screen, it was like, you know, the voiceover said something like, you know, this is the story of Peter and the Wolf, and the characters are represented by different instruments. And so have that in mind when we look at these, because it brings back so many good memories. We're going to pull up the flute section, and so each of these sections have short notes, long notes, legatos, dynamics, flutter, and fast repetitions. So the short notes are like the bird. Now that's bold, and then agile kind of messes around or alters the attacks a little bit, so you can get better control. And then the long notes, you have the sustains. And if you look down on the mixer section, you have the room mix again, you have mid mics, and then you have the close mics. That just lets you dial in the exact mix that you want to get. Everything in position in the synchron stage, so everything remains consistent throughout. So when you're playing these back, it just helps everything just to kind of come together. So this is some of my favorite things in the VSL libraries is the legatos. So let's just kind of look at the legatos on the flutes. Yeah, you hear so much detail. And one of the things that sets VSL libraries apart is the performances. So it's not just getting anybody that can play a flute or an instrument into a studio and record samples. So the main thing that you have to have, you have to have a good recording studio. You have to have a good environment. But, even with that, you still need someone that is gifted and talented and that knows their instrument. And so when you are recreating different pieces, and you're going to have very authentic, very emotional and moving performances from these instruments. And that's what I constantly hear That's why it pulls something different out of you, because you're playing in response to the emotion and to the heart that has gone into creating these libraries, and that's what I've experienced over the course of working with these. So dynamics, you have sforzato, where it's a real quick attack, and then it kind of goes down, and then you have the swells. And you hear those really interesting attacks. You've got the short swells. And again, the articulations kind of follow along with the other libraries. So you can, you're familiar with, you don't have to learn a new sets of articulation maps and that kind of thing. So like in some of the horn libraries, you have the same types of swells. And then you have the flutter tongue. And one of the things that I've added recently, got the nano controller out. And so the nano controller allows me to, sometimes they put key switches way down off the keyboard. And so I'm going to see where these key switches land. And then I'm going to drop the octave down some. Let's just see where we've got some of these. Okay. Okay, there we go. So I can quickly access these key switches. And then you're up here and you have just subsets. So you have the short notes, long notes, legato, dynamics, flutter tongue. You can switch back and forth. Okay, now this is the fast repetitions I switched to. And just performed repetitions. Okay, so let's move on to the oboe. And same type of setup here. Let's just go with the short notes. Just so much life in these. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so the long notes. And that has to be the duck. Just gorgeous. Okay, so legato. Yeah, see. Just the way that legato connects those notes together. You have the regular, and then you have the espressivo. So you can kind of just hold that, and it just kind of goes. Yeah, very nice. And the dynamics, same thing here. So you've got the sforzato, the swells, and the longs. Okay, so now let's go to the clarinet. Now, the clarinet is Ivan the cat. Let's see if I can remember. Let's try that with the short notes. Okay, so let's do this. Short notes. Legato. And then the velocity affects the attacks and the depth. And you can go in and just edit that a little bit further with the different envelopes and humanization. Then the control, just all of the controllers that are here. It's just incredible. So expression and the master volume. Yeah, you hear substance and life in those. Just incredible, beautiful. Okay, now let's go to visit Grandpa bassoon. Same thing. Let's try this. Yeah, let's try this. I mean, can you imagine? I must have been 9 or 10 years old, and seeing how the instruments translate to character, and you're hearing the music, and you're seeing this action play out in front of you, and it's just like, and here I am sitting now, and just able to hear just world-class, beautiful music and sound. It's just amazing. I never would have imagined you know, it would have been so mind-blowing to imagine being able to just to fast forward and to sit down, being able to open up these instruments and play like this is just amazing. So let's check out the legato on the bassoon. What this combination allows you to do, it allows you to, you know, come up with some absolutely beautiful parts quickly using Neptune. And then you can break those out using the individual sections with Orion. So they kind of go hand in hand. They just complement each other so well. So I'm going to leave links in the description. You can get demos of Neptune and Orion, 30 days to try this for yourself and just experience this beautiful set of instruments. So it's just so much fun. So. So until next time, I will look forward to seeing you on the next video. L, M, N, O, P, and Q. Oh my goodness. So what could P and Q be? It's going to be interesting. So the galaxy is expanding, and I want to thank Vienna Symphonic Library for giving me the opportunity to bring these beautiful, amazing libraries to you. And we will see you soon.